I would understand. Blah, 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 blah. Nope. What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the first ever album by comedian Jarrod Alonge, Beating a Dead Horse. He's come out with singles like I'm So Seen and other various parodies like How to Get on Pop Punk Volumes 1 and 2, working with Fearless Records. This dude is hilarious, probably in my top 5 in terms of YouTubers out there right now. I donated to his album on Indiegogo. That's how he funded this thing, raised over $18,000 to make a 15-song album, and the results are absolutely hysterical. We get parodies all over the place. Bands like Chewed Up, Amidst the Grave's Demons are the bands that he's come up with here. I believe Alonge writes the majority of the lyrics himself, and has invited the likes of Dave Days, Cody Carson from Set It Off, and several other vocalists, I believe like someone from For Today, and several other well-known bands. So it's pretty impressive how he's like risen through the ranks quite quickly. Some of the parodies on here are just absolutely hysterical. I mean, some of the... Oh, sorry, headphones came unplugged. Man, this album kicks ass. I think we're on the same page for once. I don't even think your brain can comprehend the fact that Jarrod is making fun of how generic and stale bands of these genres have become. By the way, Thomas, have you thought about what you're gonna do since I'm moving next week? You know, you can't live on my back porch anymore. First, it's XX Brutal Swag 69 XX. Secondly, I'll probably just go live with my dad. He does shitty reviews of shitty albums too. He's got 7 kids, dude. He doesn't have any time. Are you even listening to me? This is plagiarism! Anyways, there are some really hysterical songs on here that I found myself laughing my ass off to. Some of my favorite moments are just when this album hits the nails right on the head. Canadian Softball, the parody of the band American Football, the emo one is on point. The lyrics and the title of the song even. The distance between you and me is longer than the title of this song. There's moments in that song that had me just rolling on the floor. Just the way that Jarrod actually does his vocals. He did the vocals on that one, unlike a lot of these songs. I just thought it was absolutely hysterical how many bands he manages to parody all in one song, and that's proven once again on the track Hey Jarrod, What's That Song Again? One of my personal favorites is the cover by the band Rectangles, which just gets absolutely so far out there with how like pretentious math rock bands try to be sometimes, and they're talking about mathematics and all these other things, and just some of the things that they're throwing out there. The wording gets so complex, and it is absolutely a pleasure to listen to. Construct additional pylons! I really like the Sunrise Skater Kid songs, the pop punk parody on here, and well, of course there is an Easycore parody, which could be found as under the pop punk genre as well. It's essentially Chunk No Captain Chunk getting parodied on the track Take It Easy Core, which has some of the best lyrics on the entire record. It's just like straight up giving me an In Friends We Trust vibe from it, and it's basically saying like, hey, you know what? Some of these parodies are actually better than the original songs, and that's kind of embarrassing for the artist, isn't it? Save My Life really gives off a Memphis Mayfire vibe, and you guys know that I've never been into that band at all, and it just seems like a straight up shot getting fired at them and other bands that just try to go for that super, I don't know, like emotionally in check, and like, this song is so powerful and we have such deep meanings. The track Unbreakable by Amidst the Grave's Demons, another great band name of course, once again, it has an absolutely hilarious ending to it. It's a guy like talking to his mom and it's saying like, I'm never coming back except, you know, maybe from time to time for a visit, and maybe you could spare like $200 or something. And it's just like so accurate because I have friends that are in bands and they're like not close friends, but I see people acting like this and I just see how accurate this parody actually is. Bite the Curb is another one that I find hysterical just because it makes fun of those bands that act super tough, but underneath they're just like scared to death of like anyone like intimidating them whatsoever. And at the end of the song the guy's talking about like, oh, my dad's a lawyer, I go to church every damn day, my dad's gonna sue you if you do anything to me. And it's like, yep, you know, you see people like this all the time. And I don't think that everyone is gonna get all of the references on this album. I think some people are just gonna like like it for the sake that it's like hardcore and some pop punk music, and they're just gonna listen to it for the music, which is, I feel like a lot of people do that in general with bands like Chunk No Captain Chunk, Asking Alexandria. They don't really think too much while they listen. But if you actually listen to this Jarrod Alonge album, you're gonna be laughing a whole lot, especially if you get fed up with how boring and repetitive and just nonsensical these genres can get. How about that moment in editing when I realized that I forgot to talk about swag chode and then misogynistic? So Too Freaky for the Club, definitely another one of my favorites. Absolutely hysterical lyrics, contrasting between the lifestyle the band's like Broken Side and Blood on the Dance Floor presented to us back in the day, contrasting that with like being responsible, drinking responsibly, treating women right, and then just kind of, I don't know, it was kind of a hilarious back and forth. And then the track Misogynistic talks about this whiny guy, kind of spoofing the dudes that are always like, I'm such a nice guy, why do girls only date assholes and douchebags? And then just kind of following that up with like, why don't you like me back, bitch? And then kind of like saying like, oh yeah, that's why nobody likes you back. Definitely another two of my favorites right there. I know this review was a little bit off the cuff. I'm sorry, I'm in the process of moving. This is one of the last times you'll ever see this backdrop, so enjoy it while you still can. The Wall of Music, like 5.0 or something, whatever we're on now, will be coming very soon. I recommend you check out Beating a Dead Horse by Jarrod Alonge, his first ever comedic album. I will link to the official stream that he has uploaded to his channel in the description down below, along with my Facebook, Twitter, everything like that. And for me, this album gets a 4 out of 5 with a moderately high replay factor for a good chunk of these tracks. How much could I really criticize about this album? There wasn't that much to critique. It was a pretty spot-on parody of a lot of songs and stylings that come with these genres. The only thing is, I probably don't see myself coming back to it that often, and there are some tracks that I find kind of stale just because I don't really listen to the genres, like the Suicide Silence, which is the Vermicide Violence parody that they threw on there. I don't really go for anything that intense, but I'm sure some people will absolutely love it. Another one, The Swimmer, was a little bit too hard for me, but other than that, I'm not really complaining too much. Let me know your thoughts on this album in the comment section down below. If you're curious, if you've never heard of Jarrod before, do yourself a favor and check it out, because he's a really funny guy. I'd love to collaborate with him at some point, so make sure you tweet this review to him. I will link to his Twitter down below, along with the stream to his official album. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you very soon right here on ARTV.